Have you ever wondered if what you see really reflects the truth? In the complex web of television interviews, Kate McCann's facial expressions have been an intriguing enigma. Imagine watching a mother whose gaze does not falter into tears, whose voice remains controlled amid a personal storm. Can such a serene face hide a darker truth? Most of us, without realizing it, overlook subtle clues that could reveal lies. According to a study published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior, only 54% of people can detect lies. That means there's almost a 1 in 2 chance we won't notice what's right in front of us. Here, we will delve into a territory where appearances can be deceiving, where the truth can be hidden like an iceberg, with only its tip visible. Do you dare to discover what lies beneath the surface? Let's talk about that disturbing 54% statistic. It reminds me of a time when I myself was deceived. Years ago, during a seemingly trivial conversation with a colleague, I noticed that his smile was a little forced, but I ignored it. Later, I discovered that he had withheld crucial information about a project we were working on together. It was a hard lesson, but it opened my eyes to the importance of paying attention to micro-expressions. Paul Ekman, a renowned psychologist, suggests that these subtle facial expressions have the power to reveal true emotions even when words say otherwise. It's fascinating and a little disturbing, isn't it? In intense emotional situations, such as Kate McCann's interviews, micro-expressions can be a secret map to the truth. So why does this matter? Because in real life, just like in the stories we see on television, we need to be able to read beyond what is visible. Every smile, every glance away can carry a universe of hidden meanings. Think about how many times we have overlooked these signs, convinced that what we saw was all there was. But there are consequences to not acting on this knowledge. Ignoring these expressions can leave us vulnerable to deception, holding us hostage to carefully constructed narratives. I remember a colleague who shared her experience in a body language course. After learning to identify micro-expressions, she noticed that her interactions with her boss changed dramatically. She began to notice when he was under pressure, even when he was trying to appear calm. This gave her an advantage, allowing her to anticipate problems before they exploded. This skill transformed her professional life, and it can transform yours too. The urgency here is clear. We need to open our eyes before it's too late. So, what to do with all this? Kate McCann's micro-expressions may contain hidden clues that most people miss. Imagine being able to decipher these clues and understand more deeply what someone is really feeling or thinking. The promise here is not only to reveal secrets about a specific case, but also to equip you with tools you can apply in your own life. After all, the truth doesn't need defense, just the freedom to reveal itself. I'm sure this will make you reflect on how perception shapes our reality. What if you could see beyond the masks? So, imagine we were together, watching one of those Kate McCann interviews. We saw that calm, controlled look, and maybe something caught your attention, but for some reason we let it pass. And that's where the depth of what we're dealing with here comes in. Science tells us that the appearance of calm we see may not be what it seems. This isn't just a case of a mother controlling her emotions. It could be something much more rehearsed. And why? Because sometimes, in order to protect a narrative, people rehearse behaviors. It seems a little disconcerting, doesn't it? But that's exactly what happens. Remember the Chris Watts case? He appeared in interviews with an almost disturbing composure while his family was missing. It later came out that he knew more than he was revealing. This calm, rehearsed behavior was a significant clue. And here, we can talk about cognitive dissonance. This is the uncomfortable state a person finds themselves in when their actions are not aligned with their true emotions or beliefs. So, to alleviate this discomfort, they may create a mask of serenity. It sounds complicated, but in intense emotional situations, it's exactly what can happen. The American Psychological Association published a study in 2020 on grief and shock behaviors. The research shows that people in shock can exhibit a range of reactions, from uncontrollable tears to a disconcerting calm. This raises the question, can an appearance of calm be a defense? Perhaps you have experienced something like this, where your internal emotions were very different from what others saw. And this is something that most of us don't notice at first glance. Let's explore an example that helps us understand this better. Think about Amanda Knox. She was also analyzed in a similar context where her reactions were seen as cold and calculated during her trial. Everyone was expecting an emotional and shaken person, but what they saw was a woman who appeared composed, and that raised suspicions. But if we look deeper, we can see that she was dealing with immense pressure, perhaps rehearsing her behavior to maintain some control in a desperate situation. And this common perception that calmness is strength can be misleading. In fact, it can be a strategy, a shield. And this is where cognitive dissonance comes into play again. When our internal and external emotions are in conflict, our minds find ways to justify or cover up that discomfort. It is this dance between what we feel and what we show that causes so much confusion. You may have noticed something like this in your own social circle or even in your personal experiences. Now, why does this matter so much to you and me? Because if we can't identify these rehearsed behaviors, we may end up believing stories that aren't completely true, and that has real consequences. Imagine a year from now, if you continue to accept everything at face value. You may miss out on an opportunity, or a relationship may deteriorate simply because the true emotions were masked. And here you may feel a twinge of uncertainty. It's normal to want to trust people's expressions, to want to believe that the truth is obvious, but we need to go beyond that. And that's why we're here questioning, exploring, because the truth is more than skin deep, and our ability to perceive it can transform how we relate to the world around us. If calmness can be a mask, how can we see beyond it? What guides us through this fog is the awareness that behaviors, no matter how calm they may seem, can be rehearsed. And this understanding not only makes us better observers, but also protects us from being swept away by misleading narratives. So as we move forward, stay alert. Prepare to peel back these layers and, in doing so, find a truth that may have long remained hidden. Imagine for a moment that we are backstage at a theater. The lights dim, the curtains open, and the scene unfolds before us. The actors' expressions seem natural at first glance, but for those who understand the inner workings of the theater, every movement, every glance is carefully calculated. Now, bring that metaphor to Kate McCann's interviews. Kate's expressions, like those of an actor on stage, may seem spontaneous, but what lies behind them? Here's the surprising revelation. Micro-expressions are the key to seeing beyond these masks. According to Paul Ekman's theory of deception, these small involuntary facial expressions can betray a person's true emotions, even if only for a fraction of a second. It's almost like a wink from the unconscious, quick and sometimes imperceptible to the untrained eye. But for those who know what to look for, these expressions reveal a completely different narrative. If you've ever found yourself thinking, "Why didn't anyone tell me this before?" It's because we are conditioned to believe that visible emotions are authentic. But this common belief is debunked by scientific findings. A study in the field of micro-expression psychology shows that, on average, only 54% of people can detect them correctly. This means that most of us are living in a state of illusion, taking what we see as the absolute truth. And this is where the concept of the iceberg of emotions comes to life. What is visible is only a small fraction of the submerged truth. So how can we apply this discovery to our everyday lives and redefine our perception? Let's explore this in 3 practical steps that you can start implementing right now. First, start training your eyes. Watch interviews or even movies and pay attention to moments of contradiction between words and facial expressions. A slightly forced smile or a shift in gaze can be more revealing than an eloquent speech. Second, use the pause and analyze technique. When you notice a micro-expression, pause and reflect on what it might mean. It can be helpful to write down your observations, as this helps solidify your learning and perception of these subtle cues. Finally, apply the visual feedback tool. Record yourself on video during a conversation or presentation, and then review it, looking for micro-expressions. This practice will not only increase your self-awareness, but also give you an advantage in understanding the emotions of others. A real-life example can illustrate the transformative power of this technique. Consider the case of a sales manager who applied this method. He began observing his customers' micro-expressions during meetings. Over time, this allowed him to adjust his approaches in real time, leading to a significant increase in sales closing rates. He reported a 30% growth in his annual sales, simply by knowing how to better interpret his customers' emotions. If you're still not convinced, consider the data. Research shows that individuals trained to recognize micro-expressions are significantly more effective at communication and negotiation. The before and after transformation is clear. From generic communication to deeply connected and personalized interactions. Now, let's bring this to an immediate application in your life. Try this exercise. During your next conversation, focus on identifying a micro-expression. It might be a frown or a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Write down what you notice and, more importantly, how it changes your interpretation of the conversation. The results can be measured quickly. Increase your awareness over the course of a week and notice how your interactions become richer and more insightful. This is the microclimax we promised, the ability to see beyond appearances, something that can be applied at any moment in your life. And so, as we peel away these layers, we get closer and closer to the truth. But that only scratches the surface of what we can discover. The real question is, now that we know what to look for, how can we apply this in our daily lives to transform our interactions and relationships? Let's start turning our theoretical understanding into practical, measurable actions. In the last block, we discussed how micro-expressions can reveal hidden truths. Now it's time to put that into practice. First, start with the practice of deliberate observation. Spend 15 minutes a day watching interviews or public speeches, pausing frequently to analyze facial expressions. Use the Micro-Expression Training Tool app, which offers structured exercises to help you recognize micro-expressions. This daily habit develops your critical eye, allowing you to detect subtle emotions. After 2 weeks, you may notice a significant improvement in your ability to identify them. The second step is contextual reflection. Whenever you detect a micro-expression, write down its possible meanings and associated feelings in a journal. Use an app such as Evernote to organize your observations weekly. This process of note-taking and review helps you internalize your learning and keep a record of emotional patterns that you can compare over time. In the third step, implement visual feedback. Record yourself during routine interactions and review the recordings looking for your own micro-expressions. Use an app such as Vimeo to store and share your recordings with a trusted friend who can provide feedback. This practice not only improves your self-analysis skills, but also increases your confidence in recognizing similar cues in others. For the fourth step, adopt conversation analysis. During conversations, consciously practice reading micro-expressions, using an app such as iMotions to train your skill in real time. Progress to complex conversations after you feel comfortable with simple interactions. This trains your ability to react immediately to emotional cues. Finally, apply reality check. Use the concept of confirmation bias to challenge your perceptions. Before jumping to conclusions based on micro-expressions, ask yourself, am I really seeing what I think I see? Discuss your observations with friends to gain varied perspectives. This exercise broadens your perception, reducing the chance of jumping to conclusions. On this practical journey, it is common to make some mistakes. A frequent mistake is over-interpretation, where you may consider every expression as an indicator of something profound. This occurs when we rely too much on our new skill without sufficient context. To avoid this, always consider the situation and the person's emotional history before reaching conclusions. Another mistake is neglecting context, where we fail to consider the environment and circumstances of the observed expression. Always try to integrate context when analyzing a micro-expression. The last mistake is impatience for results. Remember that developing this skill takes time. Signs that you may be impatient include frustration and giving up too soon. Keep a progress journal and celebrate small successes to avoid this. To measure your progress, focus on 3 specific metrics: the number of micro-expressions correctly identified each week, the accuracy of your interpretations as verified by feedback, and the time it takes you to identify complex expressions. In about a month, expect to start seeing noticeable results in your accuracy and confidence in recognizing micro-expressions. To speed up this process, insert a weekly observation sprint session. where you intensify your practice for an hour, alternating between different types of media and contexts. As an advanced tip, explore FACS, or Facial Action Coding System, a detailed system that can further expand your knowledge of micro-expressions, providing a deeper and more technical understanding of facial emotions. Once you have mastered the basics, it's time to expand your skills. Consider attending body language workshops or specialized online courses, such as those offered by the Paul Ekman Group, to deepen your knowledge. Continuous practice and updating of your skills will allow you to apply these techniques in negotiations, leadership, and interpersonal relationships, increasing your impact. By connecting what you learn about micro-expressions to your daily life, you not only improve communication, but also strengthen your emotional understanding, both personally and professionally. With these tools in hand, consider how this knowledge can transform your perception of the world around you. Imagine a scenario where every interaction becomes a richer and more informed experience. What potential does this unlock in your daily life, and how does it change your view of communication and interpersonal understanding? Throughout this journey, we have navigated seas of uncertainty and revealed what was hidden beneath the surface. We started with the idea that truth could be hidden by misleading expressions, and now we have reached a point of clarity and self-awareness. Before, you may have been among the many who blindly trust what they see without questioning it. Now, with the ability to perceive micro-expressions, you are better equipped to discern the truth in a sea of appearances. I confess that at first, I myself was skeptical about the depth these signals could reveal. It was only when I began to apply them in my daily interactions that I noticed the transformation. Moments that once went unnoticed now reveal themselves as opportunities for deeper understanding. And you, throughout this process, have shown courage and determination to question and explore beyond the obvious. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a new perspective that transforms your interactions. When you meet a friend, you notice a brief shift in their gaze that reveals more than words can say. At work, you become a more perceptive listener, picking up on nuances that previously escaped you. Relationships deepen, conversations become more authentic, and you feel more connected to each moment. This is the real impact of seeing beyond the masks, of understanding that the search for truth is ongoing. And in this scenario where truth is valued, you find not only answers, but also new questions that drive you to go further. This urgency is positive, not because time is running out, but because you realize the transformative potential in every interaction. Now, I would like to hear from you. What has been your biggest discovery along this journey? How have these new skills changed the way you perceive the world around you? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Your experiences are valuable and help build a community of truth seekers. Together, we create a space where sharing is more than just dividing, it is multiplying knowledge and understanding. Each comment is a unique piece in our collective mosaic, and I look forward to seeing how you contribute to this bigger picture. And if you felt that this journey was worthwhile, consider supporting our work through Super Chat. Your support not only helps us continue to unravel these layers of truth, but also solidifies your role in this community dedicated to authenticity. By investing in this mission, you actively participate in something greater, a network of individuals dedicated to unmasking what is hidden. And don't stop there. In the next video, we'll explore how these skills can be applied in even more complex scenarios, revealing nuances that many overlook. I promise it will be an enriching and eye-opening experience. Unmasking the truth is more than a motto, it's a commitment. So until then, remember, the truth doesn't need defense, just the freedom to reveal itself.